We'll start with the prayer. Om Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Om Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyoma Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Sadashiv Samarambha Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Shant Shant Shanti Hari Om. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Let's take a sankalpa. So we are looking at the Sadhana Chatushtthayam. Sadhana Chatushtthayam, they are the qualifications which are necessary for entering Jnana Yoga. So what kind of values you need to inculcate so that you are an adhikari for gaining Gnyaanam. So far we have seen Viveka, Vairagya. Viveka was Nitya, Anitya Vastu Viveka. Then Vairagya. Vairagya means dispassion, detachment. Iha amutrartha phalabhogeshu iccharahityam. I have no passion for any results, any fruits of actions here or hereafter. So we've seen Vivek, Vairagya, and now we were looking into the third qualification, which itself is a set of 6 values, 6 disciplines. So it is called the Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti. Shama, etc. Shatka Sampatti. So we've already seen Shama. Shama means Mano Nigraha, means mastery over the mind. Then Dhamma. Dhamma means Chakshuhu Adi Bahya Indriya Nigraha, means restraining the sense organs. Then we saw Uparama. Uparama means Swadharma Anushtanam Eva. So basically, if you do your Swadharma, if you fulfill your duties and all, your mind is free of other preoccupations and your mind can be focused on the object of your concentration, object of your focus for a length of time. If you have preoccupations, again and again, I had given the example of that mother and child. So again and again, you will have to get the child back and you will be engaged in that only. You will not be able to do anything meaningful. So that is Uparama. Then Titiksha. Titiksha we've seen earlier also and we saw it in the previous class also. So Tattvabodha defines Titiksha as Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, Adi, Sahishnutvam. So Sahenshilta. But what kind of Sahenshilta? Cheerful tolerance, cheerful forbearance. Like the Vivek Chudamani defines it as Sahanam Sarva Dukkhanam Apratikara Purvakam Chinta Vilaparahitam. Without any complaining, without any cribbing, cheerfully endure. And then finally we saw Shraddha in the last class. Shraddha means Guru Vedanta Vakyeshu Vishwasa. It is important that you have Shraddha in the teacher, you have Shraddha in the Vedanta, in the Upanishads, in the Vedas, in order to gain anything from it. And the sixth of the Samadhi Shatka Sampatti is Samadhanam, which we have to look into now. So Samadhanam means Chitta Ekagrata. So that is what we have to look into. So this Samadhanam of Tattva Bodha, it is same as Samadhi of Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga, the 8th limb, Samadhi. Do you remember the Ashta limbs, the Ashtangas? Yama, Niyama, started with Yama and Niyama, right? So Yama, Niyama, then Asan Pranayam Pratyahar, and then Dharana, Dhyan, and finally it ends in Samadhi. And this Samadhanam that we are talking about right now is the same as that Samadhi of Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga. Both are same. So what is that? This Samadhanam, it means single pointedness of the mind. So it is basically the capacity of focusing, the capacity of the mind to focus on the goal that I have undertaken. It could be whatever, listening to a talk. My mind must be focused on that. And at least for that 1 hour, I have to be able to focus on that thing effortlessly, without any distraction. So we should always remember this story. So there is a story of this person who was sent by the king. Okay, he was asked to go through the whole town, but with a bowl full of oil in his hand. Okay, and the oil, it was full till the rim. So the king had told him that you have to take this bowl full of oil and you have to go through my entire town. But the condition was that even 1 drop of oil should not fall down. तो उसके साथ एक आदमी भी भेजा था उसके पीछे. So in case even 1 drop of oil falls, the person behind was given the instruction to cut off his head. So now the man's life depended completely on focusing on that bowl of oil. So he could not afford to lose focus. Now for so many hours, okay, this person was walking through the town. So many distracting things were happening around him. So animals were crossing his path. Children were doing all sorts of masti. They were teasing him. They were pulling his clothes. Then street acrobats, street fights, so many things, cows, buffaloes, goats, dogs, everything. But this guy, he was just walking through the town with his focus completely on this cup of oil because his life depended on that. So he finally made it successfully to the kingdom. And after reaching the palace, the Raja asked him, "Ki kya dekha raste mein? Did you like my town? What all did you see in the town? Did you like it?" So now this person is saying that I saw nothing but this cup of oil. And this is the kind of concentration that is required for gaining knowledge. Any kind of external distraction or internal distraction, they should not have the power to take our mind away from the object of our focus. And this, it should come effortlessly, spontaneously. So this is called Samadhanam. Now, at this point, we can have a doubt, right? Ki, everything in Shatka Sampatti, we are calling focus, focus, focus only. So everything is sounding like similar only. Ki ye bhi focus hai, wo bhi focus hai. We said Shama is also mastering the mind. Then we said Uparama is also, in some way being able to focus the mind. And now we are saying Samadhanam is also similar only. We can definitely have this doubt. If you don't have this doubt right now, little more mananam on this and this doubt will definitely come. This doubt used to make me so restless when I was studying the Sadhana Chatushtthayam. So let me clear it out, okay? The confusion will occur between what is the difference between Shama, Uparama and Samadhanam. These three things, okay? So Samadhanam, okay? We can call Samadhanam as concentration or focusing, which happens spontaneously. So we don't need to put effort to make a child sit, like stay put in the mother's lap this time. That is called Samadhanam. Without forcing the child, without bringing the child back again and again, the child is on its own effortlessly sitting in the mother's lap. That is Samadhanam. So the mind is spontaneously, naturally, effortlessly focusing on the goal when you are in the Samadhanam state. So what is the difference between Shama, Uparama and Samadhanam? So Shama means withdrawing the mind from outside and bringing it on the object of focus. वापस चला जाएगा तो वापस लेके आओ, जितने बार जाएगा वापस लेके आओ. That is Shama. Uparama. Uparama means being able to stay on the focus, on the object of focus for a length of time. You have to put effort in that also. And the effort is Swadharma Anushtanam. You have to keep your mind preoccupations by finishing off your duties, by getting done with your duties. So you have to put an effort for that also. Remember the example of the child, always. Remember that example of the mother and child, okay? Shama में क्या आता था? बार बार child मम्मा के लैप से चला जाता था, बार बार हम उसको lovingly, बिना frustrate हुए, we were getting the child back. That is Shama. In Uparama, what is happening? Child is sitting for a long time on mama's lap, okay? Because probably the mother is giving him some food or some interesting toy or something. And the child is not distracted by anything around. So both these processes, Shama and Uparama, they require efforts from your side. But Samadhanam means through practice, okay, through Abhyasa and Vairagya, through both those things, what is happening in Samadhanam? You are effortlessly sinking into that object of focus. Just naturally being able to be in that state for a length of time. Like the child quietly sitting on mama's lap without any pressure, without any bribe, without any pralobhanam. Okay, that is what we call Chitta Ekagrata, Samadhanam or Samadhi in the language of Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga. Okay? So these are the sixfold discipline. And all these sixfold disciplines together, they form the third qualification. Once again, we'll look at them. Just list them down once again. Which are the 6 disciplines? Shama means mastery over the mind. Dhamma means restraining the sense organs. Uparama. Uparama means mind being free of preoccupations. Then Titiksha, endurance, cheerful endurance. Shraddha, having faith on the teacher and having faith on the Shastras. And Samadhanam. Samadhanam means Chitta Ekagrata, one-pointed focus. Okay? So with this, we finish the third qualification. So we have seen Vivek, Vairagya, and Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti. Now we have to look at the fourth qualification. And the fourth qualification is Mumukshutvam. Mumukshutvam. So Mumukshutvam primarily means the desire to gain moksha. That is the literal meaning of the word Mumukshutvam. The desire to gain moksha. And actually speaking, this is the most important qualification amongst all these four qualifications that a student must have. Because all other qualifications are relevant only if one has the desire for liberation. One has the desire for freedom. Freedom from problems, okay, caused by depending on the world, by trying to take support on the anitya vastu. Then freedom from all psychological problems like insecurity or worry, fear, frustration, disappointment, anger, hatred. So all these are also caused by depending on the undependable, the anitya vastu, relying on the unreliable. So it is not the mistake of the world or the other people. It is not the mistake of the anitya vastu, but it is our mistake that we are expecting permanence out of impermanent. Swamiji says that the problems which are caused by such wrong expectations, expecting nityatvam out of the anitya vastu, this wrong dependence is called samsara. And mumukshutvam means a strong desire to be free from this samsara. So if this desire to be free only is not there, then what will happen? A person will jump from one impermanent thing to another impermanent thing. है ना? पहले toys and balloons, okay? So from toys and balloons, the person will jump to maybe girlfriend and boyfriend, then jump to maybe wealth and success, family and possessions. The person will basically jump from one experience to another, from one achievement to another. So the person will keep jumping from one to the other, trying to seek security, trying to seek support, trying to seek happiness. But he will be disappointed and frustrated every time. Momentarily happiness मिल जाएगा, लेकिन वापस से end of that happy event or happy situation, and again that frustration comes. So there is always disappointment in this case. So the desire to get out of this mess, the desire for freedom, the desire for liberation, that desire is what we called mumukshutvam. The desire to get out of this crazy samsara, the dukkha yoni samsara. That is what we call mumukshutvam. But now, if that person says that I am absolutely okay living in this mess that you are talking about, I am absolutely okay living in this samsara, I am totally okay jumping from one desire to another in order to get temporary happiness. Mujhe temporary happiness bhi chalega. I am okay with that. I am enjoying running after artha and kama. I am comfortable relying on impermanent things. Even though I end up in sorrow. Okay. Jab ye khatam hota hai, I end up in sorrow. But I am totally okay with that. So he says that, thank you, but I am not interested in any kind of spiritual liberation. I don't want to be free from samsara. So if a person says that, then there is no question of presenting Vedanta to him, no? Because he is not a mumukshu. We never impose the knowledge to anyone. Only if a person has understood the limitations of a materialistic lifestyle, and only if a person knows the value of spirituality, then he will seek Vedanta voluntarily, right? Without being forced onto it. So one should be matured enough to understand the limitations of the materialistic life. And not only that, he should be really, really curious to know whether there is something more to life than birth, old age, disease, death, repeat. Birth, old age, disease, death, repeat. तो इन सब के अलावा भी कुछ है कि नहीं, वो curiosity होना चाहिए. So when this kind of fatigue comes to a person, okay, when the person is really tired of relying on impermanent things, that's when this curiosity comes. That's when this questioning comes in that person's mind. And then he asks that, is there something more to life? Is there anything more to life than these meaningless, temporary things, beings, achievements? So when those kind of questions arise, when he has this kind of curiosity, and even if it is a mild curiosity, then we can say that, yes, my dear, there is something more to life. And if you are interested, then I am willing to show that to you. So basically, that person should be interested. That person should be wanting to be free. Then alone the teaching will work. Otherwise, all the study will be absolutely meaningless. That is why we say that Mumukshutvam is the most important quality, because all the other qualifications, they depend on Mumukshutvam only. Agar ye desire hi nahi hai, if he is happy with where he is, then no question only. Then, yeah, you can stay that way. So the person needs to have that curiosity. And once the person becomes mildly curious, that is what we call Manda Mumukshu. Okay, mildly curious. Then we gradually introduce the spiritual concepts to that person. And then slowly from mildly curious, he'll become an intense seeker of liberation. From Manda Mumukshu to Tivra Mumukshu. Then he'll be desperate for gaining knowledge. He will be desperate for this freedom. Freedom from samsara. Now here, one thing should be made clear, that Mumukshutvam does not mean only desperately wishing for liberation, but doing nothing about it. It's like, I have a very, very strong desire to lose weight, but I don't work out. I don't follow a healthy diet. I just keep sitting, I just keep strongly wishing in my head that, yes, I want to lose weight, I should lose weight, I want to lose weight, but I am eating burgers and cake sitting on my couch in front of the TV. It will never work. Same way, Mumukshutvam does not mean just a strong desire. A strong desire due to which you are ready to put in immense efforts to gain moksha. Srinivasanji says that a person should be so desperate, just like a person whose head is on fire, how he is desperate for water. So that intensity of desire should be there. That desperation should be there for attaining freedom. So that person will put in intense efforts, right? Like really consistent efforts for doing all the sadhanas, which are necessary to gain this moksha. So then moksha alone becomes his priority. And all the other things, they become secondary. Everything else will become like not so important. again, like I said in the last class, it does not mean that you give up everything. But when you know that moksha is your goal, then everything that you are doing, it is directed towards that moksha. So even if you are doing your work, your office work, your domestic work, you are doing any other thing, you are maybe converting it into karma yoga, because that is how your work is going to lead you towards moksha. So any of your action is directed towards moksha. And when this intense thirst for freedom leading to intense thirst of knowledge arises, then that person will start absorbing Vedanta like a dry sponge. Like how a dry sponge absorbs water, वैसे the person will start absorbing, the person will start assimilating the knowledge. Therefore, we say that all other qualifications, Vivek, Vairagya, and Samadhi Shatka Sampatti, and even a Shrotriya Brahmanishta Guru, even the Shastras, everything might be there, but all those things will become relevant only when the person is a mumukshu. Without mumukshutvam, nothing can help. So now, after studying mumukshutvam, I think it is the right time to check our qualification. I think it's the right time to ask ourselves, am I really seeking moksha? Am I really a mumukshu? Am I really tired of depending on impermanent things? Am I really tired of this samsara, which is a dukkha yoni? It's called a dukkha yoni, a womb of pains, a womb of suffering, because even any kind of pleasure, any kind of happiness also comes with a potential sorrow in this samsara. So, am I really tired of achieving things and still not finding lasting happiness? Am I tired of jumping from one thing to the other to gain that peace of mind, to gain that happiness? It is really the time to question ourselves. Or am I happy with the samsara, and am I just studying because it's a free class? Or am I just studying because I don't want to be left out? You know, others around me are doing it. I don't want to be left out. Why am I doing it? So we should, I hope it's not like that. And I hope all of us are at least manda mumukshus. At least that curiosity is there. What is beyond this? Where does this thing end? What is our real goal? When all those questions are coming, that means that we have mumukshutvam. And we should slowly try and move from being a manda mumukshu to a tivra mumukshu. We should have a burning desire for liberation that should override all my other desires. So mumukshutvam is one desire, which is a approved desire by the Shastra, desire for freedom. Okay? So with this, all these four put together, Vivek, Vairagya, Samadhi Shatka Sampatti, and Mumukshutvam. All these four put together are called Sadhana Chatushtthayam. And this is the prerequisite for self-inquiry, for Atma Gnyanam, for Jnana Yoga, for entering into Jnana Yoga, through which we can get Atma Gnyanam. So they are mandatory for Vedanta to work. And suppose in our journey, we find that even after studying Vedanta for many years, if it is still not working for us, if still transformation is not coming in us, that means one or more of these four qualifications is either absent or it is deficient. And that is where we need to work first. So we can self-analyze that. And also there is one easy way of remembering these 4 qualifications in the form of 4 Ds. D for Delhi. Yeah. So, Viveka means discrimination. Vairagya, dispassion. So, D, discrimination, D, dispassion. And Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti is called discipline. So, these 6-fold disciplines. And Mumukshutvam means desire for liberation. So, the 4 Ds are the Sadhana Chatushtthayam. Discrimination, dispassion, then discipline, and desire for liberation. So the Tattvabodha text itself, it begins with this statement that Sadhana Chatushtthaya Sampanna Adhikarinam. So the one who gets, so one who has got, who has attained these 4 qualifications is the adhikari. Adhikari means is the qualified person. But here we need to remember that we don't need to so here we need to remember that I think the recording was not started only. So I think the first half of the class will be missed in the recording. Anyways, yeah. So basically, we need to remember that we don't need to have these qualifications 100%. कि 100% विवेक होना ही चाहिए, 100% वैराग्य मुझे मिल ही जाना चाहिए, 100% शक्त संपत्ति. No, that is not necessary and it may not even be possible. Okay, we need not feel that since I don't have these qualities completely, that means I'm not ready. And thinking this, what will we do? We'll delay our study. We'll think, abhi I'm not ready. ऐसा सोचना गलत है कि 100% qualification मिल जाएगा तभी I will start my study. The idea is that at least some amount of sadhana chatushtayam should be there. Thoda sa, say 15%, 20%, thoda sa is necessary. Just like 35% passing marks होते हैं ना, pass होने के लिए थोड़ा सा जरूरी है ना. So like that, to start, it is not necessary to have 100%, but at least some amount of sadhana chatushtayam is necessary. And so we can start our studies along with that little qualification, and then along with our studies, we can keep on working on increasing the sadhana chatushtayam. Okay? So such a person who has even 15-20% of yogyata, such a person is called an adhikari. Means he has gnana yogyata. He is qualified to receive gnanam. And such a person alone can fully benefit from self-inquiry. And those who don't have these qualifications, firstly, the idea of self-inquiry itself will appear irrelevant to them. It will appear like a waste of time. I'm sure many people might be telling you, I get it all the time, ki, why are you wasting your time in all these things at this stage? You know, like there is still a lot of time for you to do all these things. So you keep getting all these things that all these studies, they appear totally irrelevant to most of the people. So those who don't have these qualifications will find the study absolutely irrelevant. It will appear like a waste of time. And another possibility is there if you don't have the qualifications and still if you get into the study for whatever reasons, maybe because everybody around is doing it or whatever, it will merely be an academic exercise. If we don't have the qualifications, it will stay at the intellectual level and it will not be assimilated. It will not be absorbed. Like food, okay? However much healthy food we might be eating, but it is a complete waste if it is not absorbed and assimilated by the body, right? Only assimilated food gives nourishment. Rest all is waste. Same way, knowledge that is at the intellectual level, it doesn't make sense till it is assimilated. It should not. So this, I'm talking about self-inquiry. I'm talking about Atma Gnyanam over here. So it should not just stay as an information, okay? But it should bring about a transformation. And therefore, Sadhana Chatushtthayam is required. It is necessary. Now, the obvious question that would come to our mind is that, what are we supposed to do to become an adhikari? How do you gain these qualifications? Can any one of you answer this question? How can we gain these qualifications? From all the things that we have studied so far, can you please think of something and tell me that how we can gain the Sadhana Chatushtthayam?
Hello.
Sorry, yes, Deepak ji.
प्रैक्टिस करने से जो सीखा है उससे.
करेक्ट. तो अभी तक हमने क्या सीखा है?
धर्म, अर्थ, काम, मोक्ष.
राइट.
काम, क्रोध, लोभ, मोह, मद, मात्सर्य,
वाव,
डिसिप्लिन, सत्य, ईमानदारी, अहिंसा. एक्सपेक्टिंग फ्रॉम अदर्स वो बहुत बड़ी वीकनेस है, उस पे काम कर रहे हैं. ग्रेटिट्यूड ऑफ गॉड, गुरु, सृष्टि, ब्रह्मांड, 5 एलिमेंट्स, 4 फादर्स एंड माय मदर, उनकी पूजा करना. और वी आर डिलीवरी बॉय, ये चीज पे भी काम कर रहे हैं. कर्म से बंधना नहीं है.
Very good. So that awareness is the first step. All right. So very nicely answered, Deepak ji, and thank you for the interaction. So like Deepak ji said, okay, whatever we have studied so far, that will help us gain these 4 qualifications. So kaise? The 3 qualifications: Vivek, Vairagya, and Mumukshutvam. Okay, these 3 qualifications, that is discrimination, dispassion, and desire for moksha. These 3 qualifications, they are acquired and nourished by karma yoga. Again, I forgot. So Vivek, Vairagya, and Mumukshutvam, that is discrimination, dispassion, and desire for moksha. These 3 qualifications, they are acquired and nourished by karma yoga. कर्म योगा की जो साधना हमने सीखी, अभी जो बताया, that what is karma yoga? Doing sattvic or nishkama karmas with Ishwara arpana bhavna and prasada buddhi, receiving the result with as prasada buddhi. So karma yoga is the most important discipline which is meant for acquiring these 3 qualifications. So actually, if we see Viveka, Vairagya, and Mumukshutvam, it is nothing but gaining chitta shuddhi only. It is purification of the mind, neutralization of raga and dvesha. Vairagya or viraga itself means no raga. सब चीज अनित्य ही है, तो फिर क्या राग, किस चीज के लिए attachment? So with this understanding, mumukshutvam comes. So the more karma yoga we do, the more of these qualifications, Vivek, Vairagya, and Mumukshutvam, is what we are going to gain. So these three qualifications are taken care by doing karma yoga. Then comes Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti, the qualification, the sixfold wealth of discipline. That is acquired through Upasana yoga. Obviously, hai na? So actually, Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti is disciplining the mind and senses, leading to Samadhanam. So how do we discipline the mind? How do we gain that Chitta Ekagrata? Through Upasana yoga. So Karma yoga and Upasana yoga together, that gives us Sadhana Chatushtthaya Sampatti. So Karma yoga, do your Panchamahayagnas every day with Ishwararpana Bhavana. And Upasana yoga, we've already seen Upasana yoga in too much detail. Start with the Kayika and the Vachika Ansha. Manasa will come slowly. It will, you will reach there. Start with the Kayika and Vachika Amsha. So, such a the Karma yoga and Upasana yoga, they give us Sadhana Chatushtthaya. They prepare the mind. They give it purification and focus. Both the things, Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Ekagrata. And such a well-prepared mind that will alone benefit from Jnana Yoga. So without this kind of preparation, we can't gain self-knowledge. Atma Gnyanam assimilate hi nahi hoga. That is why since the beginning of our course, we have been slowly initiating these practices, right? In the form of Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga. Remember, we had started these practices since the first class only. Japa, Parayanam. Right? Okay. So, Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga, they are considered to be primary. And without them, the Sadhana Chatushtthayam is impossible. And without Sadhana Chatushtthayam, Jnana Yoga is impossible. And without Jnana Yoga, Gnyanam is impossible. And without Gnyanam, Moksha is impossible. We cannot have freedom without Atma Gnyanam. So this is the hierarchy that we need to remember. So now we are able to get a wider picture that why Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga are so important, how they make us fit for Jnana Yoga. Okay. So just mind this one point that Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga, they give us Jnana Yogyata, not Jnanam. Okay. They give us Jnana Yogyata, the eligibility for getting Jnanam. They make us fit and qualified for gaining Jnanam. And Jnana Yoga gives us Jnanam. And that Jnanam gives us Moksha. Just to remember the hierarchy. Okay. So our entire spiritual discipline, it can be divided into two stages. The first stage is Jnana Yogyata Prapti. So pehle abhi thode time ke liye we have to do that. We have to gain Jnana Yogyata Prapti, acquisition of Jnana Yogyata. That is the first discipline, which involves Karma and Upasana Yoga. And the final stage towards our goal is then acquiring Jnanam, Jnana Prapti. So the first is Jnana Yogyata Prapti, second is Jnana Prapti. Okay, I just want to give you some trivia that in the scriptures, the first stage, that is Jnana Yogyata Prapti, that stage is discussed in the first part of the scriptures. So Ved Purva Bhaga deals with Jnana Yogyata Prapti through Karma and Upasana. So this portion, which is called Ved Purva Bhaga or the Karma Kanda or the religious portion, we had seen it when we were studying the Shastras. Let me just open that slide. Okay. So this slide we had seen when we were looking at the Shastras. So the Samhitas, the Brahmanas, they are the Karma Kanda. They are the ritualistic portion of the Vedas. And the Aranyaka, the third part, the third section, the third portion of the Vedas, which is called the Aranyaka, they have the Upasana Kanda, or the meditation portion of the Vedas. So these first three portions of the Vedas, the Samhitas, the Brahmanas, and the Aranyakas, together they are known as Ved Purva Bhaga or Pravritti Marg. And this portion, it helps us in attaining prayer, dharma, artha, kama. And they give us this preparedness. They give us jnana yogyata. Whereas the last portion of the Vedas, that is the Upanishads, out of the 4 sections, the last, Vedanta, that portion of the Vedas, that is called Nivritti Marg or Jnana Kanda. So this is the philosophical or spiritual portion of Veda. First 3 portions, they are called the Karma Kanda and Upasana Kanda. The Vedanta part is called the Jnana Kanda. So the entire religious portion of the scriptures, the entire beginning portion of the Vedas, Ved Purva Bhaga, deals with Jnana Yogyata Prapti. Okay? Whereas the Vedanta, the Anta Bhaga, they deal with Jnana Prapti, the attainment of Gnyaanam through Jnana Yoga. And this part, it is not a spiritual portion. Okay, the Vedanta, the Upanishad part, it is not a religious portion. It is the philosophical or the spiritual portion of the scripture. So our scriptures have got a religious portion dealing with Jnana Yogyata Prapti and the philosophical portion dealing with the Jnana Prapti. Okay. So ethical life means following Samanya and Vishesha Dharma plus Karma Yoga plus Upasana Yoga will give us Sadhana Chatushtthayam. So again, this is the formula, Deepak ji. Like, you don't need to remember all of this. You just need to remember this formula. So following Samanya and Vishesh Dharma, doing them as Karma Yoga, and then doing Upasana Yoga, that will give us Sadhana Chatushtthayam. And if we have this, then we are ready to gain Jnana Yoga. Now, once a student asked Swami Sadatmanandaji that if there are any indicators, okay, if there are any indicators to know whether we have enough adhikaritva, मतलब हम कैसे check करें कि do we have sufficient sadhana chatushtthayam for gaining jnanam? So Swamiji says that again, like the fourfold qualification which is prescribed for a student of Vedanta is not possible to be achieved 100%, and it is not necessary also. But a minimum level of preparedness is necessary when one starts Vedanta study. And this minimum level of preparedness, that can be gauged through the indicators that we are going to talk about now. So it will give us an approximate idea. Okay, it is not a rigid, all-inclusive list. It is just useful for the sadhaka for introspection, to be done without judgment. It is not for judging others or not even for judging ourselves, okay? But just for a basic assessment so that we know that where we need to work on. Okay? So let us quickly look at these indicators, okay? The checkpoints. So pehla indicator to ye hai कि there is a lot of clarity now about the real goal of life. First, I was very lost. मुझे पता ही नहीं है कि मैं, why am I doing what I am doing? Now I have a sort of clarity about the real goal of life. And this clarity, it results in dispassion. थोड़ा थोड़ा वैराग्य आने को लगता है towards most of the material things. So this dispassion is there for most of the time. Kabhi kabhi we might want to go back to our old ways, but in general, for most of the time, that craving, that crazy desire ki ye bhi lena hai, ye bhi chahiye, ye bhi chahiye, ye bhi chahiye, that craving is not there. So one is able to see that disconnect between one's activity, which is involving only material pursuit, and one's goal of life. So what disconnect is very clear to that person now. So that is the first indicator. So you can check this in your own lives. Okay. The second indicator is that one is able to remain attentive during most of the time while attending a class, while doing Shravanam, while listening to the Shastras, while listening to the class or recordings, or even during Japa and Parayanam. The attention span has increased. You are being able to focus much more. That is the second indicator. The third indicator is that one has a healthier self-esteem. पहले बहुत कुछ भी किसी ने कुछ भी बोल दिया, हमारा self-esteem shake हो जाता है, हमारा self-confidence shatter हो जाता है. Now we are able to maintain a healthy self-esteem and a relative self-acceptance. Not only self-acceptance, there is acceptance towards things and people and situations around us also. And also one, because of that healthy self-esteem, one is able to be more confident कि I am capable of pursuing moksha. तो पहले क्या लगता था कि oh, moksha is some far-fetched things, you know, it is something which is there only in books or only for, you know, someone else, or something that I could possibly get in some distant future janma. But now, through our studies, it is an indicator that if you are able to feel confident, yes, moksha is possible for me here and now in this janma, that is another indicator that you are gaining this qualification. Deepak ji, I know it is 7:15. Can we continue for another 5 minutes so that I can finish this topic? Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is another indicator that we are feeling confident that we'll gain moksha. Okay. One more indicator is that one's mind does not go to adharma deliberately. That awareness that Deepak ji was talking about, that comes. So now one does not plan or scheme or maneuver to do any adharmic action, any non-righteous action for personal benefits. Sometimes one may inadvertently tend to do some wrong action, but never on purpose. Purposely kisi ko bhi parapidanam, we will never let it happen now. That is another indicator. Then yeah, one does not have a hangover of situations. One is able to overcome them, either whether it's a happy situation or a very negative situation. One is not hoarding it in one's mind for a length of time. So at least, you know, before going to bed or within 24 hours, one is able to overcome that. So that means what? The FIR that we had spoken about, FIR has reduced substantially. So this FIR is an excellent checkpoint. Okay, it's an excellent indicator. F was the frequency of our emotional reaction. I was the intensity of our emotional reaction, emotional disturbance. And R was the recovery period, the recovery time that we take to come out of emotional disturbances. So FIR will reduce substantially. And another very beautiful indicator is that one will be able to see how blessed one is. Most of the time, मतलब छोटी छोटी चीजें भी अपने लाइफ की, like we'll start really appreciating and feeling blessed all the time that, oh my God, I mean, I have such a healthy body. Oh my God, I have water to drink. I have food to eat. You, for even the most mundane things which you never used to notice, now you will start being so grateful, and you will start feeling that that you are so blessed. That is a beautiful indicator. And yes, one more indicator is that we don't take much time to get into meditation or class. Basically, one can easily switch off from the external pursuits and change the channel to your study. So that compartmentalization becomes easily. मतलब पहले अगर study करने बैठते थे तो भी you could not switch off from the external pursuits. Now you can easily make that switch. And yes, one does not get tired of listening to the classes. One does not get bored. One does not look forward कि class कब खत्म होगा. So basically, it's not about this class. One does not get bored of spiritual studies. It's you want more. So it's not about this class, but you're keen to, okay, after this maybe I can chant the Bhagavad Gita. I can learn the Bhaj Govindam. I can. So you have that. Okay, I want to do this. I want more out of this. And the last thing is that one does not obsess over any relationships. There is no more emotional attachment, emotional dependence on anyone. We can love our family, we can love our guru, we can love, respect, have Shraddha, but it is not an emotionally obsessive relationship. You free everyone and you keep yourself also free. So these are the indicators. Like as mentioned before, it's not an exhaustive list. It is only indicatory. So ye list, maybe we can just go through and we can check, we can assess ourselves. And as our adhikaritvam, it slowly increases, then we will have more and more assimilation. It thoda sa bhi ye sab indicators, if even little is there, we can enter into Jnana Yoga and then work on it. And as it increases, as our qualification, as the adhikaritvam increases, we will assimilate more and more. So after entering Jnana Yoga also, we should continue with the practices of Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga to strengthen this Sadhana Chatushtthayam. And when we attain this Brahmanishtatvam, when we become Sthita Prajna, firmly established in the knowledge, after that, then we may choose whether we want to continue with our sadhanas for the joy of it, for Loka Sangraha or not. Then whatever we choose. Okay, but till then, Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga, they are important for Jnana Yogyata Prapti. Okay? So with this, we finish the Sadhana Chatushtthayam. Very important topic. Okay? So Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga and Sadhana Chatushtthayam. And from next class, we enter Jnana Yoga. So it will be nice if we can assess ourselves in this week. All right. Thank you. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shant Shant Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you. Bye.